One thing I do love about a new month starting is the books I'm going to read. So I've got two here I'm going to talk to you about and show you, or not talk to you about, just show you them, to be honest. When I finish them, I'll probably talk to you about them a bit more. The number one book I've got here is a book called Dopamine, Why Our Addictions to Pleasure is Causing Us Pain. It's called Dopamine Nation, Why Our Addiction to Pleasure is Causing Us Pain, by Dr. Anna Lembke, by Dr. Anna Lembke, as you can see there. That's the book that I'm currently reading for the month of December. The back synopsis is as follows. We're a wired generation. In these fast-paced times, we are constantly bombarded by high reward, high dopamine stimuli. From texting to social media, food to drugs, gambling to shopping, we have become addicted to fleeting, distracting pleasures that are making us sick. In Dopamine Nation, psychiatrist and best-selling author Dr. Anna Lembke reveals why our relentless pursuit for pleasure leads us to pain and what we can do about it. Bringing together cutting-edge neuroscience with the gripping real-life experiences from her clinical practice, Lembke explores how contentment and connectedness are essential tools in keeping dopamine in check. This is an essential book for anyone wanting to find a balance for a happier life. And I don't know about you people out there, I'm trying to find a balance to a happier life. So check this book out. I really do recommend it. This is something I'm going to read in the month of December. Of course, I'll give you guys a review at the end. And then the other book that I've got here is a book about Lou Reed. A book about Lou Reed by this author called Will Hermes. Will Hermes, Lou Reed, as you can see, one of my favorite artists of all time. The back synopsis of this is as follows. Since his death in 2013, Lou Reed's living presence has only grown. By the way, one of the best Supreme photo tees as well in recent history. You know, Supreme photo tees haven't hit the same way, but I think Supreme photo tee of Lou Reed from back in the day was very underrated. I think people are loving it now because obviously of his passing, but that Supreme Lou Reed t-shirt was kind of overlooked, didn't get the respect it should have got. But big up Lou Reed, RIP to the great one. Since his death in 2013, Lou Reed's living presence has only grown. As the lead singer of the Velvet Underground and renowned solo artist, Lou Reed invented alternative rock. In Lou Reed Kings of New York, veteran music journalist Will Hermes offers a definitive narrative of Reed's life, legacy following from the Lower East Side Coldwater Flats to the eminent status he later achieved. We witness his complex partnership with David Bowie, Andy Warhol and Laurie Anderson, and explore the artistic ambition and self-sabotage that took from his mentor Delmore Schwartz, all the while hearing the story of the New York City as a cultural capital. As the first biographer to draw from the New York Public Library's Reed archive, as well as previously unheard recordings and wealth of recent interviews with Reed's contemporaries, Hermes gives us a new Lou Reed, a pioneer writing about non-binary sexuality, gender identity, committed artist who was pursued beauty and noise with equal fervor, and turbulent man whose emotions imprint endures. So I'm really looking forward to getting through both of those books. If you've ever wondered how I get my book recommendations, what I usually do actually, maybe I'll make my wish list public. I might make my book wish list public because I get some DMs people asking me for recommendations of what books to get and buy and shit. But what I usually do, because I listen to a ton of pods and I'm always fucking on social checking out things, I'll usually save things. I'll usually save recommendations, or if somebody mentions something on an interview, I'll put it on my wish list and I just kind of compile them. At the end of the month, I'll just pick whatever I can afford. If I want to buy, like, I don't know, 3 books for fucking £30, I'll just pick whatever I can afford with no real rhyme or reason and just kind of go from there. I try not to get into any paralysis by analysis thing, which people do sometimes get, thinking, oh, maybe I should get one non-fiction, this, that, one fiction. So I don't think about it too much. I just have a wish list, and it's sometimes if I'm really struggling to pick, I'll just sometimes pick like 10 and put them into a randomizer and tell me to select 3 and just go from there and figure it out. Even if it has to pay more money, I'll just figure it out. I don't want to fucking have the first hurdle of, because reading is already hard as it is, especially because I'm so tethered to my phone these days. In the past I used to read a lot easier, but nowadays it's a bit more of an effort. So I don't want to make it harder by giving myself, you know, too many options or being crippled by the options. So whatever I see, as long as it's something that sounds good, I'll buy it and then go. And also I'm kind of one of those readers too that believes in the philosophy or the ideology of, if a book is boring, just dump it. You know, if you're not liking it, you're not reading, it's not going well, just dump it. I don't believe you just always push through and read and no, you can't, because you can't really fast forward on a book either, like a TV series or a movie, which you can maybe push forward. So if you're not really feeling it, just abandon it and just continue reading the thing that you actually are enjoying, because you'll then see that you probably will be focusing a lot more on it. You'll get a lot more out of it, and maybe the dumping that first book will maybe refine your taste, refine your options of what you want the next time around. So yeah, that's what I usually do when it comes to reading. So I'm really looking forward to grabbing those. I'm really looking forward to grabbing those, devouring them, and then giving you a little review at the end when I do finish up reading them, innit? Because that's all well and good. But people nowadays, I've heard what they're doing, especially some of these kids. I've heard some of these kids, what they're doing is that they're just grabbing the book and putting them into OpenAI. Because nowadays, I think most people know that you can just, you can rip books, you can get books on like torrents and stuff, right? Whether it's an audiobook or whatever. And I'm assuming if you just like drag and drop that into a fucking OpenAI, or sorry, ChatGPT, sorry, and ask for a summary or roundup, or give you the kind of overall synopsis of each chapter in less than 500 words, you can get it if you want to, or maybe even less. So kids nowadays aren't even reading. I did see this tweet that went viral at one point a few months back, where there was, I think it was a college teacher, sorry, some white guy. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. He's in class, right, and he's doing the whole thing that teachers do where they don't record the kids. He just got the camera pointing to himself, and he basically says, "Hey guys, the assignment is an essay." And I think he only asked for like 5 paragraphs. I swear to God, I think he only asked for 5 paragraphs. And the kids were like, no. They were so pissed off. And I was like, fuck, these kids are so lucky. They don't have to. I'm guessing by the way that they were shouting and being shocked and stuff and annoyed, it's something that they either don't like to do or something they don't do usually anyway, or maybe both. But in school, when I grew up, it was like essays were a requirement. Sometimes you were required to write an essay with a week's notice. You know what I mean? Week's notice with references and citations and all that malarkey. Especially if you were in a higher set, you were effed if you were writing an essay, because a lot of the brainier kids will just be writing words for the sake of writing words to sound intelligent or to appear intelligent. So you have to battle with those kids who would come with fucking binders full of paper, and that would be their essay. Essays were like an integral part to kind of gauge where you were in the kind of academic kind of scale. So nowadays, that kids don't have to do, or that ChatGPT's basically nullified essays, right? It can write you an essay. I'm sure there are clients out there that you can use that can write you an essay in your voice. I'm sure that exists, right? You can input something that you've wrote yourself from the ground up, and it can just start to like give you, an essay that you might have wrote in your own voice, but you didn't write it. So pick up the kids out there in school who are fucking, figuring out ways to get around working, because who really wants to work out there? Who really wants to work? I know not me.